Hello and welcome to the first training on mindset. Now, I know some of you might not be into the mindset, but from experience over the years, this is probably one of the most important things in business, especially running your own business. Probably one of the most important things because you will have really, really shit weeks and you will have really, really good weeks. You can turn those shit weeks into good weeks, turn those shit months into good months. The fact that you're here probably makes sense once you've watched this video. So, stop thinking negative thoughts, right? This was the stuff that I used to think about. I mean, the first sort of thing that I had been introduced to was like YouTube stuff on mindset, law of attraction, positive vibrations, bringing stuff into my life. Don't stop thinking about what you don't want. Stop thinking about what you don't want. The more I tried to not think about stuff that I didn't want, the more I thought about stuff I didn't want. And it used to stress me out. So I was trying to do all this positive stuff, and I was like, you know what? I wish I'd never read that fucking book. I wish I'd never read that because now, as soon as I get a negative thought in my head, I can't stop thinking about it. And then I feel even worse about it because I think, fuck, I'm bringing this into my life by thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it. So, here's how you can fix it. So, a thought that makes you feel bad, worried, anxious, low, etc. is a negative thought. I went wrong with this because I was basically trying not to think. As I said, I would genuinely just try, right, stop thinking about it, stop thinking about it, stop thinking about it. And sometimes it would kind of work and I would stop thinking about it, but then also would stop thinking in general. I would just drive in my car. Usually driving in your car, see when you're doing something like that that's automatic. Swimming, I find is awesome. When I'm out swimming, when I'm in the shower, when I'm driving, when I'm in the gym, when I'm just kind of doing things that don't require a huge amount of focused attention, I have some of these most amazing thoughts. Like fucking hell. So be aware of your thoughts at all times. Allow yourself to think, but when you experience a bad thought or feel them creeping in, acknowledge it, check it. Cool, that's a bad thought. I don't want to think about that. And understand that it's not your reality. But in saying that, this is what I was struggling with because I would have these bad thoughts. And I mean, I don't mean like suicidal thoughts, I don't mean anything like that. But I would have bad thoughts. I would have self doubt creep in. I was like, fucking hell, you really up to this, mate? Are you really up to this? And you would doubt yourself. You would have these thoughts. You would think, well, what if I don't have a business in 10 years? What if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, mate? So, the solution to this, right? And this is the one thing that I found that worked best for myself. And it just makes everything else make sense. The one time that I realised I wasn't having bad thoughts, because this was like a daily thing for me, right? I think I was genuinely at the time driving myself crazy because every single time I would have a bad thought, I would be like, fuck, I'm having a bad thought. Try not to think about it. I would have more and more and more bad thoughts. Even when I was going to bed, I would then be like, right, fuck, I'm trying to think good stuff. I'm trying to think good stuff. Oh, fuck, you've got this to pay for next month. You've got this to pay for next month. It was always just bad thoughts, right? And then I started really just doing more and more work on this, more work on me, more work on my mindset, more work on this stuff. And I had vision boards, I wasn't really using them properly. I had all these different things because these were what these books had kind of said to do, right? Zero idea how any of it was going to work. And I think that probably didn't help as well because I was kind of doubting it. So this is the thing that I came up with, right? So instead of trying not to think bad thoughts, actively give yourself good thoughts. Alchemy of Self, the document, go and watch the Alchemy of Self training if you haven't done. Vision board, affirmations. I have a vision board up here, a full one. I have one, two, three smaller vision boards here with different sort of lifestyles in different countries that I will have. I have a vision board on my phone. I have affirmations on my phone. I have a 3.5 minute affirmation recording that I listen to minimum 3 to 5 times a day. So for me, the main thing that I started doing, because if I was actively focused on not having bad thoughts, I would just have more of them. And then I was going mental, just worrying about these thoughts. So what I started doing was just being super, super proactive and giving myself, not forcing, giving myself good things to think about. So I can look at one of these pictures, right? So this one's a house, right? This is a house that I want to have in the UK. It's a fucking massive house. I've got an office, I've got both cars that I want to have at that house. I've got an outdoor garden because I want to have friends and family and stuff coming over. This is one of my sort of lifestyles that I want to have, right? I can look at this picture I can take it all in, I can shut my eyes, and I can just start to make myself feel good thinking, right, okay, this is what the house looks like. This is what this room smells like. Maybe I've got one of these candlestick things from Zara Home that I like. I can't remember the name of it. Incense sticks that go in the wee bottles. What does the room smell like, right? How does the carpet feel on my feet, right? There's me standing at the top of the back steps. In the picture, there's a big house, got a conservatory at the back. It's got steps coming down to a swimming pool with a seating area. So I can vision myself standing at the top of those steps, looking down at the pool, looking at my family there, looking at my kids in the pool playing, whatever it might be, and I can start to feel good about that. So that's me proactively introducing good thoughts because I've got all these different triggers all over my house now for good thoughts. One thing that I did struggle with, and I'm sure you're all probably struggling with this as well, feeling frustrated by thoughts. So when I first started to like introduce good thoughts, I'd be like, right, okay, I want to make. It wasn't £10,000; it was like £3,000 a month or something like that. So it was £3,000 a month, and then it was five, and then it was 8,333.33 because that's £100,000 a year, and then it was 10, and then it was 12, and then it was 5, and so on, right? But when I focused specifically on that thing, I want to make £10,000 a month. I would get frustrated by it because I mean I couldn't really envision £10,000 a month. How do I sort of start to think about that? Like, how do I think about that? Do I take like a screenshot of Stripe and then do I edit it to the amount of money that's come? Like, how do I do that? Because if I did that, then it feels like a lie. Then it doesn't feel right. So you start to feel frustrated that you aren't there, right? So the one thing that I found best about this was instead of thinking about the financial thing, like £10,000, think why do you want to make £10,000? And this was where it all kind of changed for me. I know I'm making this very, very simple, but this is where it all kind of changed for me. I was like, right, so I want to make £10,000 a month so that I can do X, Y, and Z, right? So let's just take an example. Let's take John, who is a dad and currently works, I don't know, at a school, right? So John's dad, he works at a school and he's thinking, right, okay, I really want this coaching business to do well. I want to be getting to £10,000 a month. Doesn't really see a way out. He's had three people come on, one guy's dropped off. He's like, fuck, this is shit. Going through it, but he's thinking, right, £10,000 a month, £10,000 a month, £10,000 a month. And then he starts to get frustrated because he's not reached £10,000 per month. So for him, the best way to go about doing this, and you guys can try this as well, don't think about the £10,000. Think, why do I want that? Right, so John's sitting there and he's thinking, right, why do I want to make 10,000? Because I don't really live in the nicest area and I worry about my kids walking to school, so I would quite like to get a big detached house in a nicer area. He's then starting to think about the house. He says, I want to have a cold plunge out in the back garden. I want to have lots of space for the kids to run around. I want to have a big kitchen with an island. I want this car. I want these things. So then it's like, right, okay, well, you can vision that stuff now. You can envision yourself in that life. Like, start to think about, right, okay, how does it feel to go into that house? Where are the stairs situated? What does the hall look like? Are the kids running up to me when I go into the house? What does the house smell like? What does the carpet feel like? You can then start to vision these things. And when you start to envision it, you can then start to shut your mind and think about it, and then you feel good about it. No one's thinking about a house and feeling frustrated. And I think a lot of times when we try and think just financially, we then start to think about the lack of financially. So don't worry about the how. This will become clear over time. People, mentors, books, ideas. Probably like for yourself now, if you're thinking, finding you on Instagram, joining your group, working with you one-on-one. That's part of the how that's now came into my life and I've not even realised it. So don't ever worry about the how. And I certainly wouldn't go into this in terms of, okay, so if I see people, so if you see these mentors advertising on Instagram, like I wouldn't ever go into that as much of a how. The way that I think about these things is people who come into my life sort of haphazardly almost, like unintentionally. So I was on a page recently and I found this guy that I really, really liked, right? I found this dude stuff that I really, really liked. And I might potentially reach out to him in future. I'm still trying to think on it. But for me, it's like, well, these people come into my life for a reason. And usually, the more I start to think about these things, the better I can start to understand, right, okay, have they come into my life for me to work with that person, or have they come into my life for me to go, right, okay, well, that's what I don't want. That's what I don't want. That's what I don't want to come across as. So either way, that person's come into my life as a lesson or as someone who can teach me lessons. So think about these things, even like books and stuff. Like, see the amount of times I'm watching random podcasts and a book's in the background or a book's somewhere. Think, oh, I've seen that book like 3 times this week. Why is it all of a sudden this coincidence and people talking about this specific book? And then you read the book and changes things, changes part of your life. You learn something from the book that you can then start to implement. So don't worry about the how, just genuinely try and visualize it in your head and feel it, and these things will start to happen. Now, this part wasn't obviously done by myself, right? But this, I think it was in Harvard or Yale or something like that, one of these universities. And it was a study of the pianist. Pianist, I said pianist. I'm sure there's lots of penis studies out there as well. But there was a study done where they brought a pianist in to play a piano and studied brain activity while playing. They brought them in the next day and asked them to think about playing the piano, and the exact parts of the brain that were activated when he was physically playing it were activated when he was thinking about playing it. So just think about that. Like, that is fucking wild when you think about it. Sorry for my language. I'll probably swear again in about 5 minutes. But that's absolutely wild. So if you think about some dude, I just realised I forgot to change this picture. Just random people. Like, that's crazy. So, and you'll see this all the time. There's a very, very good video to watch on this, right? And it's the NASA team, and the guys in NASA are sitting there and they're basically doing a test drill, but they're not really sitting with any equipment or kit. They're literally just sitting in a circle at a table with their eyes closed, and they're doing this. They're physically moving. Right? Okay, yeah, Roger, noted. Blah blah blah. Don't know anything about NASA, right? They're talking in these commands. They're doing these different things. They are thinking about themselves doing the thing, like currently being in that place doing the thing. And the same with this guy playing the piano. So they brought him in the day before, right? Played the piano. He's sitting there physically playing away on this piano. And then the next day they brought him back and said, right, okay, just think about playing the piano the way you did yesterday. Your brain literally doesn't know. I mean, you look at it's just like these things that they try and keep from normal people until you start to think about it and you're like, all right. Yeah, because every professional athlete in the world basically does this. They think about it. They think about swimming. They think about playing golf. They take practice shots. Like, your brain doesn't know the difference. So your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So through the power of why thinking, you can actually install memories in your brain that haven't happened yet. So this is why I go into the Alchemy of Self document. And see, when I saw Sam Ovens do the Alchemy of Self document, I was like, fuck. This makes sense with all this other stuff that's going on. So when you install that, now he didn't go into this stuff in it, right? But this was the stuff that was then making this click. Because there's these super successful dudes telling me back then who had no money, I literally wrote this life out, this is what I want my life to be, and now I'm in that position. From nothing. I'm like, fuck. That makes sense. That does make sense. So go and watch that training if you've not watched it. So you can actually install memories into your brain that haven't happened yet. Literally just by thinking things. You can think your dream life. I'm basically in one of my dream lives at the moment. And I will go into this in another training, but years ago, this is what I wanted to achieve. And I had no idea how I was going to do it. I had like 3 clients for £30 a month. 8 years ago, 3 clients, £30. How am I going to live in a 3-bedroom luxury apartment with a full-time maid, with a wife and a son, on one of the natural beaches in the UAE? I could literally throw a ball to the sea from my house. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. But it does now. So when you install that memory, you will then start to have different thoughts and ideas, right? Like, the experiences in your life will start to change. The things that you experience, the people that come into your lives, whether it's coming into this group and you're watching this video and you're thinking, this is literally happening to me right now. I was meant to be here. I was meant to read this video, watch this video. I was meant to come into your group. I was meant to start getting more clients into my business. That is basically the law of attraction in action. It's not just sitting about wishful thinking. Oh, I really like a Lamborghini. I'd really like a Lamborghini. If you want one, put it onto your Alchemy of Self document. This is important, right? Is bad stuff bad? So things that may seem bad at the time never really are bad. Bad comments on social media, a launch that flops, a few clients that drop off, every single bad thing that happens to me, now this took me a while to get into, right? But now I genuinely think, right, good. That's good. 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 And I just keep saying good. Like, you might think I'm a bit mental if you ever meet me in person. Because I genuinely know with all of my heart, like, my vision of why is so fucking strong that no matter what happens tomorrow in my business, I know that it's not going to stop these things. I know that for a fact. Like, oh, you've had a difficult week this week. No, I've not. No, I haven't. I've not had a difficult week this week. I've learnt lessons this week. I've had things happen this week. I'm going to make them good things. So if 4 or 5 clients drop off, right, good, good, okay, that's good. What can I learn from that? Right, this person here, look back over their check-ins, right, 3 months ago they started to mention X, Y, and Z. This person here got pregnant. Good, good. Maybe you've literally changed someone's life because you've coached them to the point where they've lost enough body fat to be healthy enough to get pregnant or get into a relationship because they felt confident enough. You've literally helped someone create life. So good. It's fucking good. Reframe it. What's the point in feeling bad about stuff? So, most problems are there to remind you of growth or remind you of what you don't want. And this is something as well, right? Because lots of people speak about this. I don't really know what I want. But what the fuck do you not want? I don't want to have to worry about money anymore. Okay, write it down. I don't want to have to worry about credit card debt anymore. Okay, write it down. I don't want to work in this job because I hate it. My boss is an asshole. Okay, write it down. So you don't want to work in your job anymore because your boss is an asshole. What do you want to do? I want to work for myself. Why? So I can have freedom, so that when anyone tell me what to do. Okay, so that's your why, right? So you can then start to write these things down. And this is the thing as well, like the stress, the grind, the hustle. Like you'll even hear me talking on social media. Like I work a lot, but I fucking love it. It makes me feel good. So when you get that feel good feeling, when you get that feeling inside your chest, and you think, oh fuck, that's exciting. Like that's how I feel day to day, doing this shit. It's, I know it's a bit weird, right? I know it's weird, but I know that thing is in line with all these things, 100%. So like the stress, the grind, the hustle, blah blah blah. I very rarely feel stressed. I very rarely feel like I'm grinding. Oh yeah, I'm grinding. Why? Just make it easy, mate. You need to do the work anyway. Enjoy what you're doing. The hustle, lack of. Then ask, why do I not want a lack of money? I want to have money. Why do you want money? I want to be able to go on holiday. Right, okay, there you go. Start to write these things down. Start to shut your eyes. Start to actually think about it. What you think about, you bring about. That then allows you to get back into the practice, the initial practice of your why. Think about really, why do I want this? How do I want to feel? How is it actually going to feel when I achieve these things? Gives you clarity of purpose and what you're meant to do. So hopefully this has helped, right? Hopefully this training has helped and you can start to implement some of these things. But I think this is me trying to keep it as short as possible. I'll go into each little bit in more detail, like my journey, the weird things that have happened with me when I started to use all this kind of stuff. Because I feel like the law of attraction, manifestation, all this stuff is quite confusing when you start. I want to have a big Range Rover. I want to have a Lamborghini. You're like, but I don't have one. I have fucking no idea how I'm going to get one. This fucking asshole keeps sending me emails at work and I've got this to do. And then you're just in this negative headspace and it's not going to happen. So hopefully this has cleared a lot of that up for you. Any questions, let me know.